Don't be afraid of who you are.
What's up, Knights of Vex, and welcome to the Datacron Set 22 review, where today we're going to talk about the brand new Datacron set coming to the game, Next Conquest, and the brand new Focus Datacrons that are going to absolutely change the way we play Grand Arena and Territory War. We have some absolutely bonkers, disgusting Focus Datacrons, and this set's very interesting because not a lot of the level 9s are going to be game-breaking. There's a couple that are really good, but nothing like the previous sets where the level 9s are going to be crucial. So we're going to talk about all of that today. Today we're going to talk about the stats, the level 3s, the level 6s, the level 9s, all the Focus Datacrons will all be discussed today. If this is the first time you're viewing this type of video, I like to break the abilities into 3 different categories, into strong, decent, and bad. And for the level 9s, I have a separate category called OP I like to keep separate for the very strong level 9 abilities. Not that many, but still something you're going to want to focus on and want to achieve this set. So we're going to get right into the review, and we're going to start with the stats, so let's get into it. Starting out with the stats, this is by far probably the most important thing of the set, in my opinion, because defense is back on the table, and that means you're going to be facing different squads with like 300% defense, and that can make or break a certain counter. Defense is by far the strongest stat this set, without a doubt. There's no armor pen to counteract this for the current set. The previous set, there is still armor pen that'll help negate some of this crazy defense. But if there's no armor pen for the set after this, we're in a lot of trouble. So defense is by far the MVP for the set in terms of stats. Next, we're going to talk about critical damage, offensive protection. Those are also really good stats to have because that increases your damage and your survivability. So crit damage, offensive protection are all really strong stats to have. Potency, I am moving into the decent category because there is no tenacity to counteract the potency. So not as impactful as it would be normally. So I'm moving potency to decent because I think the other stats are going to be way more impactful for the meta. So that's why it's there. And the 2 that I put in the bad are critical chance and health steal. By no means will those stats overweigh or outweigh the other stats that I have listed on the left. Only really focus on the strong ones. I guess a little bit of health steal isn't bad in certain scenarios or certain comps, but for the most part, focus on defense, critical damage, offensive protection. And that's going to quickly wrap up the stats, guys. We're now going to talk about the dark side level 3s. So the dark side level 3s are nothing game-breaking this set. We've had way stronger ones in the past, but there are 2 that stood out to me to being pretty good compared to the rest. And that's going to be whenever a dark side ally starts their turn with at least 2 buffs that can be dispelled, they gain 5% offense stacking until the end of the counter. The reason I like this is that there's no cap to this offense stacking. So it will take a while to get, to kick in, but that doesn't mean it's useless. More buffs you have that can be dispelled, that means the more ramping offense. On a Lord Vader team, if you have CX2, he applies speed up. You get the defense pen from Apo. That's going to increase Lord Vader's damage. That's just an example of a dark side team. So keep in mind about the buffs on a dark side team that's going to ramp their offense. Which leaves to the second one that I'm going to put in the strong category. And that is whenever dark side allies are dispelled, at the end of that turn, they gain potency up and tenacity up for 2 turns. For me personally, I think tenacity up is one of the strongest buffs in the game that will literally prevent you from being applied any debuffs and can be game breaking for any team. Dark side don't really have that much tenacity up in any of the teams available, so being able to have tenacity up for a dark side lineup is really nice to have, and that's why I'm putting it in the strong category, because there's such limitation with that buff in dark side. So then we have to go to the decent, and the one I have in decent is whenever a dark side ally starts their turn with fewer than 3 buffs, they recover health and protection. The reason I like this one is because health and protection recovery means higher banners in Grand Arena and more survivability for your team. So if you're not really worried about damage or not being applied any debuffs and you're only worried about the recovery, then this is a level 3 that you would want for certain comps. That extra health and protection recovery is nice for banners, but I don't think it outweighs the other 2, but it's still decent to have. And the ones in the bad category, which it just is not going to apply to many teams, it may be applied to 1 or 2. That is whenever dark side allies are damaged by % health damage effects, they recover 2% health. And dark side allies recover 2% health whenever they critically hit an enemy. These level 2s don't really change any matchup. I don't like them at all. Does not even come close to the other three. So that's why they're in a bad category. And that is going to wrap up the dark side, guys, really quick. We're now going to move on to the light side level 3s. So the light side level 3s continue to be the more dominant compared to dark side for the previous sets, and it's all because of this one that keeps returning, and that is at the start of each encounter, light side allies gain 15% max health protection for each other light side ally. This is by far one of the strongest level 3s ever printed in existence. That compared to the Doubt, it's a game changer. It just completely elevates teams and their health pool, and it creates them so tanky. You line this up with defense, we're going to have a nightmare facing certain Rey comps, Leia, Ahsoka. They're going to be almost pretty much unkillable unless we have a nice armor pen, Datacron. Light side of max health protection should be your light side level 3 for almost every single team that you have. Doesn't even come close. So that is the one you want to shoot for. I highlighted it in gold. It's that good. But there are two other ones that are pretty decent. I don't think they'll ever outweigh the light side max health protection one. But that is whenever light side allies use a basic ability, they gain speed up for 2 turns. Speed up means higher speed, more turn meter, more turns. So that is nice to have. But like I said, does not outweigh the max health protection. Then the other one I have is whenever light side allies resist the debuff, they recover 2% health of protection. Same with the dark side. I like the health of protection recovery because that means higher banners in Grand Arena, and that's more efficiency, and that's the type of player I am. So in certain scenarios, this could come in handy if you need the banners in a pinch. It could be the difference between winning by 1 banner or losing by 1 banner. So nice to have at least one of these. And the other two guys, I don't recommend for any team at all. I'm going to read them both. Whenever light side allies gain tenacity up, they gain protection up 10% stacking for 2 turns. And then whenever light side allies critically hit an enemy for more than 4 times during their turn, they gain 5% critical damage stacking until the end of the battle. The only reason that would come in handy or clutch is that if your light side team has a bunch of AoE abilities that they could keep stacking, they're going to be ramping up that critical damage pretty quickly. But it will not come into play for a majority of the battles. Light side max health protection, level 3, is the one you want to go for. And that is going to wrap up the light side, guys. We're now going to go to the faction level 6s, and we're going to start with clones. To start out the level 6s, we got to talk about the clone troopers, and in my opinion, the most dominant one for specifically Lord Vader and the brand new dark side clones is going to be the first one listed in the strong category, and that is whenever a debuff on an enemy expires, clone trooper allies gain 2% offense, doubled if that debuff was dispelled until the end of the battle. That means unlimited ramping offense whenever a debuff is expired. It's doubled if it was dispelled by an enemy. So, Lord Vader is nothing but debuffs. You tie this with Apo, Disguise Clone Trooper, they are going to hit bonkers hard. Now, that doesn't mean that you should replace this with the Apo Datacron. If you have the Apo Datacron, keep that. But if you don't have the Apo Datacron, this is the one you're going to want to go for. The clones are going to hit extremely, extremely hard. Definitely want to get one of these. If you end up not getting the offense one, the turn meter one is really good as well. I don't think it's as good as the offense, but generating more turn meter for your team is the way to go. That means more turns, and that is whenever a debuff on an enemy expires, clone trooper allies gain 2% turn meter, doubled if the debuff was dispelled by an enemy. Same exact wording, it's just turn meter. This, I would think, would be very helpful for the OG Bad Batch. They apply a ton of debuffs. They don't really need the stacking offense. They deal true damage. So the turn meter for that team is very nice to have, and I recommend it for them. And that leaves to the third strong one in my opinion, and that's going to be whenever a clone trooper ally defeats an enemy, they take a bonus turn. For me, that is going to be the one I put on my 501st gas team. The other two, not really that impactful. They do apply some debuffs, but not enough to be ramping up their offense that crazy. So that is going to be my 501st clone one, and I think it's going to be very good. For the decent, I put it the first time each clone trooper ally falls below 50% health, all clone trooper allies reduce their cooldowns by 1 and gain 10% turn meter. This is very nice, but it's not as strong as the other 3. Yes, it's nice when they drop below 50% health, they're going to reduce their cooldowns, but that stacking offense and turn meter and the bonus turn is way better of an ability, and I like it a lot more. The only bad one that I saw for this one is whenever clone trooper allies start their turn with at least 2 debuffs that can be dispelled, they have a 65% chance to dispel all debuffs on themselves. It's not a 100% chance. It's a little bit over 50. This will not come in any shape or form into play better than the other 4 that we listed. Not a very good Datacron. Definitely don't recommend. That is going to wrap up the Clone Troopers, guys. We're now going to move on to, I believe, Gungans. Starting out with the Gungans, there's 2 that stood out to me very well. The one's going to be more annoying and one's going to be very dangerous. The first one is whenever a Gungan ally uses a special ability during their turn, they stun the target enemy for 1 turn, which cannot be evaded or resisted. Extremely, extremely strong. This could shut down very big counters to teams that aren't immune to stun. So if you're not immune to stun, you're going to get hit with stun, and that's very annoying against a Gungan team. One of the stronger ones. But for me personally, I think the strongest one of the Gungan one is going to be whenever a Gungan ally has a full health of protection. At the start of their turn, they deal 100% more damage on their turn. Imagine Tarpals or Bombardier with an AoE ability with 100% more damage, with critical damage and offense stats. Your team is going by very quickly. Extremely, extremely dangerous. I am not looking forward to a Gungan meta or a Gungan Datacron. It's going to be an absolute pain in the butt. But those 2 are by far the strongest of the set for Gungans. Then we move on to the decent category. And the next one's going to be whenever Gungan allies critically hit an enemy during that turn, that ally gains 10% offense stacking for 2 turns. It's only 2 turns. Is the stacking offense nice for that temporary boost? Yes. But it doesn't come close to the other 2 in the strong, so it's decent. Next one is whenever a Gungan ally deals damage to an enemy and no other enemy is blinded, inflict blind for 2 turns on target enemy, which can't be evaded, which can't be resisted. Blind is a very annoying mechanic. It is very, a pain to deal with, but like I said, does not come close to the other 2 in the strong. It's more of being a pest. It's a pest Datacron, but not a game changer. And the only bad one for Gungans that I saw is whenever a debuff on an enemy expires, Gungan allies gain 2% potency and tenacity stacking until the end of the battle. Not going to be a game changer by any means. They already can land a bunch of debuffs. Getting an extra bunch of potency and tenacity is not going to change any counter, so don't recommend it. That is going to wrap up the Gungan faction. We're not going to move on to the Mandalorian. Starting with the Mandalorian level 6, there are 2 in the strong that stood out to me immediately. There was a third one that I was thinking about, but I ended up putting in the decent. But for me personally, I think the strongest one for the Mandalorian is going to be the Undispellable Retribution level 3, or Undispellable Retribution that lasts for 3 turns, which is the level 6, and it can't be dispelled. So that is going to be really good on a Mandalorian team and even a Bo-Katan team. Undispellable Retribution is really nice to have. You get hit with an AoE, that's not a daze. They're going to be a bunch of counterattacks, and you're going to ramp up your offense and your out-of-turn attacks. If you have Super Commando and Gar Saxon on your team and they're attacking out of turn, which Retribution is just going to amplify that damage out of turn and the boost. It's so strong. I do like the Retribution level 6. The second one that stood out to me was at the end of their turn, Mandalorian allies gain defense penetration up and offense up for 1 turn. For example, you can use this on like a Jango team where Jango is going to be getting a bunch of big boosts at the end of his turn. And you can put that with Trench or anything else. Very strong. I do like those buffs. Defense pen and offense pen are really strong to have. And to be honest, guys, I didn't think of any one of these that were bad. I think they all can have a use. I just don't think they're as strong as the other 2 that I listed. But this one was the one that I really was debating on putting in the strong. And that is whenever a Mandalorian ally attacks out of turn, they have a 25% chance to remove 10% of turn meter from the target. Both Mandalorian teams, Bo-Katan and Mandalorians, attack out of turn a bunch. But I was thinking in my head, if you're using Maul and you're unloading the Anguish, or if you're using Bo and you're using her Mass Swarm ability, that target is more than likely going down from that Mass Swarm. So the turn meter removal isn't going to really come in handy until maybe later on in the battle. So I just ended up putting it in the decent category. I like the Retribution better for those teams, so that's why it's there. Then we move on to the next one. That is whenever a Mandalorian ally is critically hit, they gain 100% critical avoidance and critical chance for 2 turns. This could work in some situations, but I don't think it's better than the Retribution and the defense pen. You kind of want more damage. The critical avoidance could be helpful if you're getting really massively hit, but they're kind of squishy anyway and can get taken down by just regular offensive hits. So, not going to be as impactful as the other ones, I think. And then this one, guys, I was debating on putting it in the bad because it's very dependent if you get hit or not. But this reads, at the start of each Mandalorian ally's turn, If they have not taken damage since their last turn, they gain offense up and critical chance up for 1 turn. I personally like the other buffs better on the other Cron. This one gives you offense up like the other one, but I think defense penetration up is going to be way better than the critical chance up. So that's why it's in the defense, in the decent category. That is going to wrap up the Mandalorian level 6. We're now going to go on to the Jedi Vanguard level 6. So starting out with Jedi Vanguard, they win the award for the longest Datacron of the set in terms of level 6s, and it's going to start with the first one, and that reads, if all allies are Jedi Vanguard at the start of the battle, they gain protection up 100% for 1 turn until the end of their turn, and additional bonuses based on their role. Attackers can ignore taunt during their turn. Healers and support, the first time this character is defeated, they revive with 100% health and protection, and tanks are immune to stun. Whenever an enemy dispels a buff from a Jedi Vanguard ally, they are inflicted with Provoked for 2 turns. Whenever a Jedi Vanguard ally is attacked out of turn, their cooldowns are reduced by 1. So this is going to be your Jocasta new Datacron if you're not getting the new mace. This should pretty much boost the team to pretty good level. Jocasta is going to be able to ignore taunt. Tanks are immune to stun. The healers and support are revived when they go down. This will help that faction out a bunch. Do I think it's going to stop them from being taken out by Inquisitors? Probably not. But still, this is a very good Datacron. Very excited to try it out. And who knows, maybe this is what it's going to be for the new mace. We'll have to find out. The next one is going to be a very dangerous one, and it's very, very strong. Almost as strong as this one. And that's going to be at the start of each turn, if non-galactic Jedi Vanguard allies have 50% or more turn meter, damage they receive is reduced by 75% until the end of the turn. Can you guys imagine this? Just picture this for a moment. You have a Rey with the light side max health and protection 3, the Galactic Legend Jedi Vanguard, or the Jedi Vanguard level 6 for damage reduction with the Barriss level 9 and a bunch of defense stats. Good luck. That is going to be a pain in the butt. This one is insane for Barriss, and it's going to be a huge pain. A huge problem to set. So I highly recommend you get a couple of those with high defense. Next one I'm putting in the strong is at the start of the first turn, Jedi Vanguard allies gain offense equal to 400% of their current defense. Then they lose 50% defense. I think this could work really well in a Beck team with like Jedi Vanguard possibly for territory war. You could probably get use out of both of them. I'd try to get at least one and play around with it. They're going to have great use. Very annoying. Those 3 are the best of the set. Then the one I put in decent is going to be whenever a Jedi Vanguard ally deals damage to an enemy and no other enemy is ability blocked, inflict ability block for 1 turn on the target enemy which cannot be evaded or resisted. It's a very annoying Datacron, but by no means replaces the other 3. And the only one I have in the bad is whenever a Jedi Vanguard ally recovers health, they recover protection equal to the amount of health recovered. Jedi Vanguard allies can't recover protection this way more than once per turn if their health was full. Not a fan of this. Have never been a fan of this. I don't think it's very good. Don't recommend it at all. That is going to be all of the faction level 6s. I'm going to do it a little bit different than I normally do. I normally just do a straight up bad and decent and strong level 9s. I got a lot of comments and feedback about wanting to put it for the faction. So we're going to start with the faction, bad, strong, all into one. So you can see it all in one category. And we're going to go back to the clones for the level 9. So let's take a look. So starting off with the Clone Trooper level 9, the strong, the decent, and the bad. The 2 that stood out to me were CX2 and 5s as the stronger ones of the set. This by no... the problem is that this set does not have the best level 9s. They're not game-breaking as the previous ones, but that doesn't mean they're not necessarily useless. But out of all of the clone ones, those are the 2 that stood out for me. And the reason I picked CX2 over Disguised Clone Trooper is because this one reads, whenever CX2 gains stealth, they also reduce their cooldowns of their special abilities by 1. CX2 starts the battle with stealth for 2 turns. So you're going to have your disarm up a lot. When you do a basic, you're putting yourself under stealth. Your disarm ability is going to be up every 2 turns. And that's going to greatly boost your Lord Vader team. Giving your team protection up, giving boost to your supports and your tanks. I do think that is going to be the best cron for a Lord Vader team with the Darkside clones. If you don't have the Apple level 9, you're just going to be getting a bunch of disarmed, a bunch of protection up, all those stats. going to be really good. I think CX2 takes the cake for the Clone Trooper level 9. Then I had to include Fives because Fives is a tank that you want to target first in order for the clones not to get that extra stat boost. If you end up killing another clone first, they're going to steal all of his stats and makes them really difficult to take out. So this gives him some survivability. The first time Fives falls below 30% health, they dispel all debuffs on themselves, recover 40% health, and take a bonus turn. It's a little survivability tool that I think is going to be very helpful for a 5L first team. Then moving on to the decent, and I know probably going to get some comments about this in the comment section, but I put the Disguise, Clone Trooper, and the Scorch ones as decent. I think they're good, but I don't think they're as strong as the CX2 one. The Disguise Clone Trooper one reads, whenever a Disguise Clone Trooper stuns an enemy, they gain 10% critical damage, stacking up to 200% and 5% speed, 50, which goes up to 50 until the end of the counter. Is it really good stats for him? Absolutely. Does he inflict stun that often? I don't think so. I do think he has stun up a lot, but is that going to change any matchup that often? When he hits stun, then he's going to gain a little bit of critical damage and speed? I can't picture that changing any matchup or stopping a Leia counter or anything like that. So I don't think that one is going to overtake the CX2 one. But the one that was really debatable for me was the Scorch one, and that reads, whenever Scorch loses taunt, remove 50% turn meter from all enemies. That's really good to have. Especially on a Lord Vader team, when he's losing taunt, he'll still have mark, but he's going to remove 50% turn meter from enemies. So that could be pretty impactful. That was probably my second place one, but I still think the CX2 one is better in my opinion because you're constantly getting that second special, or your first special. And the two and the bad guys, that's not difficult at all. Cody is not a good character, unfortunately. He's going to be gaining an extra health and protection from his Relic Amplifier level. It won't change any matchup. And then the ARC Trooper recovering health and protection when they attack out of turn. I don't think that's going to impact any matchup. It's not going to stop a Gas 5-0 first team from losing or winning anything. So that is going to wrap up the Clone Trooper level 9s, guys. We're not going to move on to the Gungans. And for the Gungans, guys, there was one clear winner for me for the level 9s, and it had to be Tarpals. I think this one is the way to go. This one reads, at the start of each of Captain Tarpal's turns, they reset their cooldowns and lose 5% health for each turn each ability was reduced. Captain Tarpals can't be defeated this way. So that means you're going to be having a bunch of AoE abilities hitting really hard. I think he takes reduced damage from max health effects, so this could be considered dealing 100% more damage with health and protection with the level 6. That combo together is extremely dangerous. We're going to have to see how it plays out, but get ready for a bunch of Boomas and AoEs to the face. And that brings me to the next two that are decent. And guys, I don't think this Boss Nass one is going to be impactful that often. That Retribution only comes around every so often. He's not going to hit 20 Retributions in a match. So whenever Boss Nass gains Retribution, they also gain 10% health steal and defense up to 200% and 10% speed up to max 200 for the rest of the encounter. You're going to have to hit this so many times for it to get to max. It's like, it's going to take forever. So that's why I put it in the decent. And why would he need health steal? He doesn't deal any damage. So I didn't like that one that much. But it's a lot better than the other ones. And then the one that was in second place for me was Phalanx. And that's going to be whenever Phalanx loses taunt, remove 50% turn meter from all enemies. Again, same thing with Scorch. Can be very impactful. But I do like the Tarpals better. So that's why I put it in decent. It's a close second for me. And the two in the bad, I don't recommend at all. Not good at all. The Jar Jar one is whenever Jar Jar inflicts a debuff, they recover 25% of their max health and protection. I don't think that's going to change any matchup. If you're going to bring in JML, he's going to hit under protection, hit him very hard and easily. I don't like that for Jar Jar or the Gungan faction. And then the one that's by far the worst is the Bombardier. Each time Bombardier inflicts ability block, they gain 10% turn meter. Not going to be that impactful. Not good compared to the other ones, but that is going to wrap up the Gungans, guys. Now, let's move on to the Mandalorians. For the Mandalorians, I landed on 2, and the 2 that I landed on were Maul and Gar Saxon, but the Maul one is not going to be for a Mandalorian team. It's going to be for an OG Lord Vader team for players that do not have the new Dark Side clones yet. You will still have use for Maul on a Lord Vader team. And this one reads, whenever Maul critically hits an enemy, Maul gains 10% critical damage, defense penetration, and offense stacking for 200%. So if you are Maul and you start with 5 stacks of Anguish, you could go ahead and blow 2 stacks of Anguish, do your AoE. If you get an AoE crit of 5 enemies, That's a 50% boost, and you're going to be really ramping up your damage on your Anguish and all your other abilities. So I am liking that for a Lord Vader team. Your Maul is going to be hitting like an absolute truck. So I do like that. But for the Mandalorian team, if you're running Maul with Mandalorians, the one you're going to want to go for is Gar Saxon. And this one reads, whenever another ally uses an ability on their turn, Gar Saxon assist, limit once per turn, dealing 50% more damage. This is really impactful because the Super Commando is unique. Whenever a Mandalorian ally attacks out of turn, they also attack out of turn, dealing more damage. This is going to tie up really well with Gar Saxon, and they're going to be a monster this season. Get ready for a crazy amount of out-of-turn attacks and tilt from that team. Then from the decent, I put Canderous Ordo, and that is whenever Canderous Ordo deals damage to an enemy, remove 25% turn meter from that enemy. And the reason I put it into the decent category is because he tends to attack an enemy 3 times during his turn. So that is a 75% turn meter reduction from Canderous. Do I think it's going to be impactful in many matchups? Probably not. I still think the other two and the Gar Saxon one is going to be your go-to for the Mandalorian team, but it's still not a bad Datacron to have. Next decent one I have is Jango Fett, and that is whenever Jango Fett uses a basic ability on their turn, other allies gain 25% turn meter. Turn meter gains are obviously really good. I don't think this is going to fit into a Mandalorian team. I think this is going to work better in a Jango team or a Trench team. I'm sorry about that, a Jango Trench team. Giving other allies turn meter, your Separatists. It's not exclusive to Mandalorian. It just says other allies gain 25% turn meter. But it has to be on Jango's turn, so that's why it's in the decent category. And the only bad one that I have, and this might be controversial, but I just don't see this having a use on a Super Commando team. And it's going to be whenever Super Commando takes a turn, Super Commando takes a bonus turn. During this bonus turn, they deal 100% more damage. The true damage from Super Commando is from the out-of-turn attacks, not from their turn. So they have nothing in their abilities that cause assist or cause them to attack out of turn. Don't think it's going to be as good as the Gar Saxon, so that is why it's in the bad. But that's going to wrap up the Mandalorian faction. Now let's talk about the Jedi Vanguard. For the Jedi Vanguard, there was none in here that I could put in the strong category that would really make a difference in much matchups or many matchups. So I only included the decent and the bad. And the two decent ones are the Kelleran Beck and the Aayla Secura. Kelleran Beck is going to reflect some of the damage back to enemies when he's hit. This will be pretty helpful for stealing banners in certain lineups for Grand Arena. Maybe, I don't know about Territory War, but for Grand Arena, this will strip banners. And he's pretty tanky, so this could turn a 65 banner win into a 60, which is pretty good in terms of efficiency. So it is going to be put in the decent category, but it's not a game changer in terms of stopping certain counters. Then the other one is going to be Aayla Secura. And that is whenever Aayla Secura attacks. Whenever another ally attacks during Aayla's turn, Aayla Secura and that ally gain 25% turn meter. Obviously, turn meter gain is great. I don't think this makes her puts her in a JML squad or puts her in a solid Jedi Vanguard team. Her assist is pretty RNG based, and 25% turn meter is nice, but I don't think it's super reliable, and that's why it's in the decent. And the two in the bad, very, very unfortunate, but Luminara is a bad Datacron, unfortunately. I wish she had more of a use. I saw the Calvin video. I wish she had a better use. I apologize, Calvin, but this Datacron set is not going to make her relevant. The first time Luminara goes below 100% health, recover 100% health and protection and gain 100% turn meter. Not going to impact anything. She's not a good character. It sucks. What can I say? And then the Qui-Gon one, whenever Qui-Gon Jinn gains 50% turn meter when other allies use a special ability on their turn. It's not going to impact any matchups, guys. It's just not that good. You don't want to invest all of this time into a level 9 Datacron to roll a Qui-Gon or a Luminara. I don't recommend it. That is going to wrap up the Jedi Vanguard faction. Now, I'm going to include all the ones I didn't mention into the OP category, into the ones that I think are the most essential for the set and the most game-breaking. So, let's see what I put there. So, for the OP category of this set, the only one that stood out to me is the Barriss Offee. By far, going to be the most impactful and change the meta drastically. And that is the first time Barriss Offee is defeated. If there is at least one other ally that is active, revive all other defeated allies, and other allies recover 100% health and protection, gain 100% turn meter, and 100% offense to the end of the battle. This will fit into so many teams. Get ready for Rey. get ready for Ahsoka. Those are probably going to be the top 2. Barriss is a nightmare. You tie that with the max health, the damage reduction level 6, her level 9, and a bunch of defense stats. This will be the most tilting team of the season by far. If you're only focused on getting a level 9 that you need, Barriss Offie is the one you need to get day 1. The most impactful, the most game-changing for the meta, and I highly recommend you get it. So that is going to wrap up the regular set of the new Set 22 Datacrons. We're now going to dive into the focused Datacrons and rank them from 4 to 1 and what I recommend you should go for in that order. So let's check it out. To start out the focused Datacrons, we have to talk about the focused Datacron in 4th place, and that's going to be Chief Nebbit. And as much as I want this to be a very, impactful Datacron, I don't know if it's going to be anywhere close to the other 3. It's going to be a little bit cut off from my webcam, but I'll read it out for you. First, I want to start out with the stats, guys. The stats that you're getting at max rank is going to be 60% critical damage, 45% health, 110% potency, and 40% health steal. Pretty good. Not anything, crazy. That extra potency is pretty nice. The health is nice. Critical damage is nice, but there are better ones along the way. So the stats are not terrible, but not the best compared to the other 3. But the level 3 reads, at the start of the encounter, the weakest ally gains 20% turn meter for every light side ally. So this could be extremely plug and play. Does not necessarily need to be with this particular team. You could throw this with any other squad where you want that one character to go first. Your weakest ally is going to get that much turn meter. If you have a full squad of light side, that's 100% turn meter. Very, very good to have. We're going to see some crazy stuff with that. The level 6 is whenever IG-11 loses taunt, remove 50% turn meter from all enemies. Very nice to have. Turn meter removal is always muy bien. The level 9 is for Quill. Whenever Quill damages an enemy with a special ability, and the enemy doesn't have Armor Shred, inflict Armor Shred for the rest of the battle. Whenever Quill uses a basic ability and damages an enemy with Armor Shred, inflict Expose for 2 turns on that enemy, which cannot be resisted, and Quill gains protection up for 2 turns. So, I want to keep in mind that level 9 does not necessarily mean it has to go with Nebbit. So that will still work with a BAM team or a Dash team. That will work under them as well. So inflicting Armor Shred, inflicting Expose, getting that protection up is a nice utility to have. Not game breaking though. The level 12 is where it starts to get interesting. At the start of the battle, Jawa allies gain 100% bonus protection until the end of the encounter, and all enemies are inflicted with Provoked for 2 turns. Provoked is going to be that red retribution debuff, which cannot be evaded or resisted. Whenever an enemy takes damage from a thermal detonator expiring, Jawa allies recover 5% health and protection, 5% turn meter, and there's an 80% chance that the enemy is inflicted with a thermal detonator for 1 turn, which cannot be dispelled, prevented, or resisted. That is pretty strong to have. I don't know if this will make any place into Kyber 1, unfortunately, but we're going to see some crazy combos. We'll find out, but like I said, the Kyber 1 map is so small, I don't know if this will have an impact. But we have to read the level 15. The level 15 reads, at the start of the battle, if all other allies are Jawa, Quill, or IG-11, all allies gain the Droid, Jawa, and Scoundrel tag for the rest of the battle. Whenever Chief Nebbit taunts, he dispels it, grants taunt to IG-11 for 2 turns, and gains a bonus turn. So, it's not bad. I don't think it's crazy impactful, to be honest with you guys. As much as I want Jawas to be a thing, I don't know if this puts them relevant into the Kyber 1 meta. Maybe in lower tiers of Kyber if you guys have them, but still, I do not recommend that you go for this first. This needs to be the last Datacron that you focus on. So that is going to be the 4th place, guys. We're now going to move on to the 3rd place. For 3rd place, we got to talk about Director Krennic, and that does not mean, 3rd place does not mean that it's bad. It just means it's not as good as the other 2. So we got to talk about the stats. Stats are pretty good. 60% offense is nice. 50% critical chance is pretty decent, and 80% potency. I like the offense here. 60% is really nice to have. So that could work in a number of different squads. But we got to talk about the level 3. The first one is the first time Short Trooper is defeated, they revive with 100% health. And they gain protection over time, 75% for 2 turns. Short Trooper's a tank. You want Short Trooper to go down. When the tank goes down, they're revived. Very nice to have. The level 6 is whenever an Empire ally deals damage to an enemy, and no other enemy is ability blocked, inflict ability block for 1 turn on target enemy. Very annoying, very pesky to have. Inflicting ability block is really good. Level 9, Death Trooper. Whenever another ally uses an ability on their turn, Death Trooper assists, dealing 50% more damage. That's a really nice ability to have. That does not necessarily need to be with Krennic. That can work with the Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team, or a Iden team, or Imperial Trooper team. So that alone, if you get to that level 9, will work with those factions. But, honestly, the most important thing of this Datacron by far is the level 12. This level 12 was a part of a previous Datacron set that was absolutely bonkers. Probably one of the more interesting sets we've ever had. Where it was more like healer and attacker dependent. It's the support Datacron. It's back as a level 12. If you guys never got to experience it, it's crazy. Whenever a support ally starts their turn, dispel tenacity up from all enemies, and then reduce their tenacity by 100% until the end of their turn. Whenever support allies inflict a debuff on the enemy, all allies gain benefits based on the rolls for the rest of the encounter. Attackers, plus 10% critical damage. Healers, plus 5% tenacity. Supports, plus 10% potency. Tanks, plus 5% defense. Whenever a support grants a buff to another ally, they also inflict buff immunity for one turn on all enemies. I don't think you guys remember the combos that we did with this, and how many freaking teams this impacted. It's crazy. This created the droid nuke team. This level 12 made that team function. It was insane. But this also boosts Jabba, it boosts Rey with Ezra, a ton of different support characters with their teams. It's insane. So no matter what, whatever you want to do, if you don't have Krennic, you don't want to work on Krennic, get this Datacron to level 12. You will not regret it, I promise. But if you did feel like using the Krennic level 15, it reads, if Director Krennic is in the leader slot, all allies are immune to daze, and whenever an enemy is afflicted with ability block, all allies recover 20% protection, which really ties in well with the level 6. All allied tanks taunt for 2 turns and gain a stack of insight until the end of the encounter, max 10. If an allied Imperial probe droid is present, Krennic gains an additional stack of insight. If Krennic has 10 stacks of insight, whenever an enemy is inflicted with ability block, they are inflicted with ability block until the end of the encounter, which cannot be copied, dispelled, or prevented, or resisted. That means they're going to be permanently ability blocked for the rest of the battle. That is pretty neat, really cool. I don't know if this is going to be game-changing for any sort of meta or map in Kyber 1, but it reads pretty strong on paper, so I'm hoping it has a use. I like it. Regardless, the main emphasis of this, guys, is the level 12. I really highly recommend you go for it. So that's going to be the 3rd place Datacron. We're now going to talk about the 2nd place. The clear 2nd place for me is going to be the Hermit Yoda focused Datacron. And we're first going to talk about the stats. The stats are really nice. It's 80% health, 150% defense, and 35% crit avoidance. The stats for any team are insane. I mean, that's a lot of defense and health. The problem with this stat for this Cron is that Hermit Yoda is more than likely going to go with a JML team, and there's no extra protection on it, and JML really benefits from protection. That could be a balanced thing with the Datacron, but that's the only note I have for it. The stats are really good otherwise than that. The level 3 is really good. The first time each light side ally reaches 75%, 50%, or 25% health, grant them protection up 50% for 2 turns, which can't be dispelled or prevented. This sounds like a repeat from a level 3 in the past. It's really nice to have. That protection up can really increase your survivability. The level 6 is whenever a Jedi ally gains Foresight, they deal 20% damage, more damage stacking 100% until the end of the battle. Hermit Yoda does apply Foresight on the 2nd special. Grandmaster Yoda applies Foresight. There are so many Jedi that apply Foresight that this will be very strong with. The level 9, whenever Jedi Knight Luke uses a special ability, he gains a bonus turn. That is nice. So when you do your AoE Repulse, he does a bonus turn. He does his middle special, that's a bonus turn. He's going to get to his abilities a lot quicker. That is really nice to have. The level 12, whenever Jedi allies have 100% health, they have 100% offense. Otherwise, they have 100% defense. At the start of their turn, if they are buffed, they gain advantage for 1 turn. Otherwise, they gain tenacity up for 2 turns. I love it, I love it, I love it. It's kind of like going back and forth. If they have 100% health or 100% defense, they're going to hit really hard, and they're going to be really hard to take out. So picture the 100% defense on the level 12 and 150% defense from the stats alone. That's 250% defense on your Jedi team. Very difficult to take out. The level 15 reads, whenever Hermit Yoda uses a basic ability, he reduces his cooldowns by 1 and gains 7% max health up to 210% for the rest of the encounter. Whenever Hermit Yoda gains a stack of Jedi Lessons, all Jedi allies gain a stack of Jedi Lessons. That's pretty nice to have. Honestly, the max health gains on Hermit Yoda, I don't know, are the most impactful because he's not really tanking. He can't be hit. And if he's the last to survive, he's going to flee the battle anyway. So that part I'm not too crazy on. But I do like that he reduces his cooldowns when he uses a basic. Going to constantly be applying more Foresight, more Master's Training. It is really nice to have. So that is going to be the second place Focus Datacron. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the number 1 Focus Datacron for the new set. Let's talk about it. And here we are. The Focused Datacron first place for Datacron Set 22 is Darkside Ray, and I don't think it comes close. I don't think it even comes close. This one is going to be absolute bananas, going to be a staple for defense, and just on the stats alone, like, guys, look at the stats. 150% defense, 140% critical damage, and 60% potency. You pair that up with all of the remaining levels of this, she's going to hit crazy hard, guys. It's nuts. Let's start with the level 3. The level 3 reads, whenever Sith Trooper critically hits an enemy, Sith Trooper gains 10% critical damage, defense, pen, offense, stacking up to 200% until the end of the battle. So, Sith Trooper has an AoE critical hit, where if you have an advantage, you're just going to completely ramping up your damage. If you're not taking care of Sith Trooper first, you're in for a rude awakening, going to hit like an absolute truck. The level 6, Insanity. Whenever First Order allies are critically hit, they gain 10% critical damage stacking until the end of the encounter. There is no cap to that. There is nothing in there that says stacking with no up to like 200%. Your critical damage can go bananas. You do that with Kylo, who siphons mastery and ramps up his own damage. He's going to get to his power spike even quicker. It's an insane Datacron. The level 9 is the first time each dark side ally is defeated, remaining dark side allies gain 15% offense and speed stacking for the rest of the encounter. You don't want your dark side allies to go down, but the good thing is if they do go down, you're boosting up your team, and if your Rey takes a turn and kills the person that killed your team, they're coming back anyway, and now she's going to stay on the field with those boosted stats, and now your ally is back. So that is a really nice level 9 to have. It's only going to boost Rey's damage even more. The level 12 is for Sith, and Darkseid Rey is considered a Sith. The first time each Sith ally is reduced to below 50% health, they inflict doubt on all enemies for 1 turn. Doubt is an extremely strong debuff. Specifically, it's on a Dr. Aphra team or a Malgus team. Really nice to have, especially with Kylo. Doubt is a very strong debuff. It's going to be nice here. And the most banana things about this, by far going to be so crazy, is the level 15. And that is whenever an enemy takes a turn, Darkside Vision Ray takes a bonus turn. During this bonus turn, Darkside Vision Ray deals 100% more damage. This bonus can't trigger this effect on enemies. It's, there's nothing more to say than this one's going to be a absolute game breaker. If you have your Darkside Ray modded for offense, which I recommended a while ago, I have her modded for offense, and she deals 100% more damage with her shock ability, the enemy team is going to go poof. They're going to go by very quickly. I just failed Bane against Kylo in this set. How is Bane going to do against this with 150% defense and all of this damage? I don't think it's going to be possible for him. We're going to have to figure out counters for Darkside Ray with Kylo. It's going to be absolutely insane. I recommend going for this one first over any of the other focused Datacrons, over any of the other Datacrons in the set. This is the one you got to go for. If you have Darkside Ray, this is the winner. So that's going to be my opinion, guys. I'm going to show you one more slide. It's a little cheat sheet that I made for the new Datacron set, recommending what level 3, 6, and 9 for certain teams and the level 9s that I want to talk about. So let's end the video with that really quick. So this is going to be Vexatron's cheat sheet for Datacron Set 22. This is going to be available in my Discord infographics chat. So if you want to check this out, I have a whole graphic for it in the infographics section. So come and join to my Discord. Great group of guys. We talk about Grand Arena, and you'll be able to locate this there. But this is going to be my recommendations for the level 9 specifically, with what you want for the 3, 6, and what team they're going to go with. So here, you're going to see there's a level 3 for CX2, which is the ramping offense, and then the level 6 for the ramping offense as well. And underneath, I have the team that you're going to want to put it with. So that's how this reads. The recommended level 3, the recommended level 6, and the team you want to use them for. So this is all laid out in the field. Does not necessarily mean that the level 9s are going to be game breaking, but if you do pull these level 9s, these are the teams you're going to want to use them for. And then I also have a focused Datacron ranking of what I recommend you go for in which order, and the best level 3s and level 6s of the set all into one infographic so you guys can see it for your own. Pretty much wraps up everything for this video into one graphic. So I hope this video was helpful, guys. This took me an extremely long time. I am exhausted. I was doing this all day. So I would really appreciate, guys, if you leave a like in the video and comment all your thoughts down below. I would love feedback and would love to improve this going forward. So yeah, that's going to be Datacron Set 22. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, leave a like in the video if you did. Leave all your comments in the comment section down below. And subscribe to the channel to become an Out of X. And I'll see you guys in the next video. May the Force be with you all.